Naruto to Boruto, no éxito. Otra vez jugando Naruto, Boruto, Shinobi, Strike. Ajustándole la posición de visualización. Botón X, confirmar ajuste del zoom. Botón que es el botón cuadrado, cambiar al metro. Skip derecho, ajustar a la de visualización. Cero de punto. Leída. 6 de mensajes. 300. Incubado. Hilo de mensajes denso. Mensaje de Brandon Bell. Buena noche dulce. Mensaje. Ayer, mensaje de Solfus 17. ¿Qué carajo? Mensaje. Ayer, Solfus, mensaje de Brandon Bell. Ayer, mensaje de Brandon Bell. Solfus. Agrega, la canela, mensaje de Alex de 24. Una cara sonriendo, agrega una reacción al mensaje de Brandon 23. Nuevos días como amanecer. Agrega una reacción al se seleccionó triunfo. Naruto Boruto, y no me escrito.
Huh? Now.
Money.
Remember, teamwork, everyone!
I'm going to snatch victory. I'm going to snatch victory. snatch victory.
Okay,
Can you leave this one to me?
let's attack all at
Can you
once.
leave this one to me?
That's the spot. Flame bomb jutsu! Flame bomb jutsu! Fire
Things are going to get even more fun now.
Ninja hop!
Sasuke Itachi.
This fight should be worth the effort.
No other ninja could ever best the Uchiha clan.
いや、見て見て見て。見て見て。
Up against those two? Guess we'll need to go all out from the get-go then.
Snatch victory.
Don't underestimate us.
Is that it?
Itachi, you possess so much power.
You've gotten stronger, Sasuke.
Transitioned to making cakes, and then went straight from there into oil and gas. I've been in oil and gas for 9 years. From that, I've been a rope access inspector.
I see. Stronger than I expected.
Time for us to show you our true power. With Susanoo.
Access here for this one. Not very many people think I look up to it. It's pretty awesome, so I need to see the black ones. How cute.
Time to experience some real Uchiha power.
I can't believe they actually brought out Susanoo.
They're moving to people. my ways. Same way.
Nope.
Mind damage, diagnosing issues, and mitigate the risks to personnel and to the process. It comes with experience. We got we even have bases, 3D models, and they use degrees. That's something. Radiant equipment. Thinking about it. Now, faster and double people in one fight.
Even more fun.
You've done a good job making it this far.
I look back on my other self making cakes, and I never thought that I would be here today.
I always have to go all out when I fight against an Uchiha.
I'm really excited to use all my expertise, my experience,
Things
and
might end
new
differently the
technology.
next time that we fight
It's good
them.
for inspection. It's good for show. It's good for the future.
Sí, que yo tengo el Sarada acceso de acceso de
Hey,
Time to head out. Ninja hop!
Things are going to get even more fun now.
That's a spot!
Duality is a concept used Sasuke, Naruto, Kakashi and Obito, Hashirama and Madara. It continues on down the line and shows us good and evil presented by people, but the definitions of both often be blurred. The idea is prevalent through all of Naruto and the Sasuke dynasty, as we can understand both hero and villain. For the longest time, Obito was the masked villain behind the scenes, but what's funny is that Obito has more in common with Naruto than he ever had with Sasuke. Madara and Sasuke are like two sides of the same coin, but Obito is different. He wasn't anything special. He wasn't a reincarnate. He wasn't anything more than a guy with a grudge who was recruited to fulfill a purpose that he then took over due to his own ambition. And as Madara and Obito stood on the top of the 10 tails, and as Naruto and Sasuke below looked up at the two ready for battle, I couldn't help but think, wow, they're fighting themselves. How similar Sasuke is to Madara, and Naruto to Obito. It's very clear that this was more than a fight against terrorists or some rogue faction. Naruto and Sasuke were having to face themselves in battle. And that's why this what if is so awesome. We're switching out characters. Naruto and Obito are now on the same team, and Sasuke and Madara are now on the same team. Okay? So I can only guess what might happen next. Strap in and get ready for the video. But before we begin, only 25% of our viewers are subscribed. So if you're a fan of the video, please like and double check if you are subscribed. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video. It's a story I've told 100 times, and it's a story I'll tell 100 more. Naruto's birth was without issue. Being the son of the Jinchuriki, bringing Naruto into the world required certain finesse that ensured that the only thing coming out of Kushina was the blonde little brat and not the big bad fox that seemed to be public enemy number one from the days of Naruto to the present. Historically, the Nine Tails was used to attack the village, and the same was true of this night as well. Plans were moving in accordance with Madara's will, in accordance with Kage's will, and in the shadows lurking, a man's mother in black, unconscious, serving as no more than a battery to the power the abilities required to pull everything off. Kept alive by Black Zetsu, Sasuke had not awakened for years, and that was good. All he needed was his body, not his contrary in mind. Zetsu's plan was following the rigid guidelines that had been set up since the beginning, that which he manipulated Madara one time into using and would then manipulate Sasuke into fulfilling. Sneaking in, Zetsu took the baby and held it hostage as a way to open Kushina up for attack. And finally, when the bait was cast and the powerful Hokage was thrown off kilter, Zetsu made his move. Grabbing onto Kushina, Zetsu teleported out via Yomoto Hirosaka. Such a thing burned quite a bit of chakra, but thankfully he had the Nine Tails Jinchuriki with him. And with his Pratapath granted by the power of his Rinnegan, he would absorb from her the chakra required to fill his reserves.
Let's jump smiles. It was on the same scales with you. Simple and 24/7 support. All powered by Amazon's network. Smart.
His reserves. Are you? Why are you doing this? Kushina asked. Zetsu, standing before her, completely masked as to hide his true nature, spoke. Such a thing is not for you to know. Why do you think I would waste the time to explain it to you? It's not like you'll be alive long enough to fully grasp it. As the seal was weakened, Zetsu reached down, gripping the very chakra of the beast sealed within her, and began to pull. Her will, her chakra, it was all that was keeping Kurama in, and to her credit, even though the seal had not fully closed yet, her determination alone was keeping it in. But now that Zetsu had applied his own will to face Kushina's, there was nothing stopping the Nine Tails from spilling out like a tidal wave across Konoha. And as the roar of a monster echoed through the darkness, the night of tragedy had fallen upon the village. Minato Namikaze was quick to come to the rescue, like an errant knight in search of his next chivalrous actions. Finding Zetsu, he readied to face it. It was Zetsu alone that was standing in the way of Minato's protection of the village, and he would not let anyone come between him and his duties. As the battle began, it was quite different from the one you know. Zetsu, not being attached to Obito, possessed no intangibility, but his techniques were greatly expanded upon. Amaterasu, as well as all of the powers of the Rinnegan, gave Zetsu quite the edge. As Minato teleported about his flying Raijin, his movements seemed matched by a Manotajikara, in that Zetsu could also teleport via the power of his Rinnegan, even if an item were left behind. As Minato saw this, he couldn't help but wonder if it was in some way connected to the flying Raijin Jutsu, as well as substitution Jutsu. Minato would attempt to attack Zetsu, only to be cast back by the Diva Path. Minato, rising to his feet, knows that this is going to be trickier than he had first thought. The Rinnegan was a legendary dojutsu that he only knew from the stories Jiraiya had told. During this time, Minato could not be certain if the person he was dealing with was Nagato or some other who would awaken the Rinnegan. He had decided to go with the idea that maybe it was Nagato by seeding some doubt. Jiraiya Sensei would be so disappointed in you, Minato said. He believed you would bring peace, and yet here you are, sowing discord. Such a waste of a good shinobi to abandon your own ideals like this. How tragic. Setsu smiled from under his mask. Ah, so you think I'm Jiraiya's student? It's a great guess, but completely off the mark. I may have created Naruto, but do not be deceived. He and I are not the same. Created Nagato. Minato asked. Setsu sighed. You know, before I ripped the nine tails out of your wife, I told her the same I'll tell you. You're not going to live long enough to truly grasp what I'm saying, so there would be no real point in telling you what there. Setsu rushed forward with his hand out. Appearing from his palm was a chakra rod that Setsu had prepared to use to stab Minato in the forehead. Minato reached out with his hand, gripped Setsu's arm, and pushed it away, only for Setsu's other hand to grip Minato's face. Tightly holding on, Setsu began to use the Pretapath to siphon Minato's chakra. Minato felt his strength failing him as Setsu's was bolstered by this. Minato would suddenly switch to Senjutsu in an attempt to poison Setsu. However, Setsu quickly adapted to it. Sage mode, huh? A technique I'm all too familiar with. You thought you could catch me off guard. Pathetic. Minato then gripped Setsu's arm, placing a tag on it. He then threw a kunai in another direction and used his flying Raijin to teleport out of the monster's grasp. Standing there, the orange pigmentation around his eyes telling any who could see that he was using Sage Mode, he spoke. You know, I learned Sage Mode, but I never really relied upon it. It takes too long to build up energy, but in case some emergencies, I like to break down class. This should even out the distance between us. Setsu turned. Your usage of Sage Mode is a pale imitation to that of Six Path Senjutsu. Inferior in all ways. To use it to defeat me. Minato stood there, looked left and right, and simply replied, yeah. This amused Setsu to no end. Then come at me again, Hokage believed. Let me show you the futility of your efforts. As Minato once more drew close, Setsu's strikes became sharper and more serious, as if he were attempting to prove the superiority of his style to Minato's, even neglecting to use more of the Rinnegan's abilities. Minato's attacks came in and Setsu pushed them to the side easily. This test of Taijutsu and Senjutsu began to come down to the wire. Minato was in a losing battle, and he knew it. Setsu had been alive for 1,000 years, and during that time he had cultivated not only influence in the world system to manipulate things on a grander scale, but he also cultivated his own skills. And because of that, mixed with his pride in proving his mother's techniques were superior to any child of this age, he lost sight of what the battle was about. He had Minato struggling, and Minato, the moment he was pushed back, would form a Rasengan. Please don't tell me you think you're going to do anything with that tailed beast ball ripoff, Setsu sighed. You're overhyped now, Akashi. You act like you have all of these great techniques. But which of these did you actually invent yourself? Everything you have, everything you are is stolen. Your flying Raijin, your shadow clones, all of these techniques you ripped off from Tobirama Senju. Your Rasengan is a ripoff, the tailed beast ball and 10 times less potent. What did you actually come up with on your own? Or is your whole personality nothing more than stolen arts? It was then that Minato used his flying Raijin to teleport to Setsu's arm, where he gripped it before forcing the Rasengan into the side of his head. As he did, Setsu was blasted away. Minato was left there, holding onto the severed arm of strange flesh that puzzled him deeply. He tossed it aside. You know, you talk way too much, he said. Setsu was laying there. He felt intense damage through his host body, concussion, very likely brain bleeding. While Setsu himself was fine, he needed to keep this body alive, as it was the only one that he could make full use of the powers of the Rinnegan with. Barely able to stand, he leaned on his left side, of which he was in true physical control. This is not the last you'll hear of me. Setsu would disappear. Sadly, this would be the last Minato would hear of Setsu, as in his attempts to defeat the Nine Tails and reseal it, Minato, along with his wife Kushina, lost their lives. The Nine Tails is sealed into Naruto, who proceeds to enter the care of the third Hokage until such a time as the child can care for itself. This doesn't stop the village from panicking and searching for the party responsible for the appearance of the Nine Tails. It's stated that the Nine Tails possess the Rinnegan markings in its eye. This is a disturbing turn of events to the third Hokage. Danzo states that the Rinnegan is a power awakened only in the Sharingan, and means that the Sharingan must have evolved into it by someone in the Uchiha Clan. During this debate, Fugaku stands up and states that there's been no report within any of the Uchiha that a Rinnegan has been awakened. The only person in the village confirmed to have a Rinnegan would be Kakashi Hatake, and so Kakashi would be called up for questioning, but he pleads himself innocent. He would allow, under the questioning of Hiruzen, the interrogation squad to enter his mind and search the contents for any sign of involvement. From this, Kakashi's innocence is proven, but who could be the one at fault then? Hiruzen calls in Jiraiya to deduce who was behind this, and as Jiraiya examines the evidence, he makes mention that besides Kakashi, there has only ever been one person in his life that has awakened the Rinnegan. He dearly hopes that it isn't true, but another suspect could be his own former student, Nagato. Jiraiya knows that he needs to find Nagato and determine that it wasn't actually him. Jiraiya leaves the village in search of Naruto and Amegakure, and upon getting there he learns that the village is under new management, and the former leader, Hanzo of the Salamander, has been dethroned and brutally killed. Jiraiya is shocked to learn that such a thing could be possible. He hears of the new leader, a young shinobi named Pain. However, due to the fact that Ame has gone dark under the rule of Pain, it's obvious that he doesn't want any information about himself getting out. That being said, he doesn't exactly want to bring Konoha down upon his head either, because he's not got the Akatsuki on his feet yet. Due to this, Nagato would take up a new strategy, one of anonymity. As Jiraiya stalks the streets searching for answer, it's then that Conan appears. Jiraiya sensei, she says from her perch on a pipe high off the ground. Jiraiya looks back. Conan, it's been some time. What are you doing here, she asks. I'm here actually to talk to you and the others. Something's come up. Conan shakes her head. You are not welcome here. Jiraiya takes that in the gut. That's quite the thing to say to the man who practically raised you. I don't say it out of disrespect. I say it for your protection. We know you're snooping, and it's not appreciated. Then why not just meet with me directly? What do you think I'm doing now, Jiraiya sensei? Jiraiya stands there, his face melted by the rain. It's quite wet out here. How about we head somewhere dry? He leads her to the old shack where he once raised them. Walking in, he turns the froggy side around to show that he's in. Care to turn yours around, Conan? She looks at the signs and then backs at Jiraiya with apathy. I don't know I'm the same me that I was when I was last here. I don't think I have the right to turn that side around. Jiraiya's eyes widen awkwardly as he pulls up a seat. This place brings back plenty of good memories for me. I feel nothing but sorrow here, she said. You care to tell me about it? Emotions all around him as if mostly the whole village. All of this, I would. You would get to tell me what you were doing here. Jiraiya sighed as he thought about it. How long ago, Konoha was attacked, the Nine-Tails escaped, and what does that have to do with us? Why not deal with it internally? The reason is that it wasn't an accident. It was a measured attack, and the culprit has the Rinnegan. This caught the attention of Conan. It also catches the attention of the human path that Nagato had sent out to spy from a distance. Rinnegan? Jiraiya nods. Yes. The first person I thought to ask was Nagato. He had the Rinnegan. Where is he? Nagato is dead, Conan said with surety in her voice. Jiraiya detected no lie. What she said, she truly believed. He's dead. How? An ambush. We were supposed to meet up with Hanzo of the Salaman. We were to discuss peace and how it could be achieved with other villages. Except, it was a trap. He had grown jealous of us. He attacked us. Our entire group was eradicated. That day, Yahiko died. And so too did Nagato. Hanzo killed him. Killed them both. And perhaps even I died that day as well. The one you came seeking no longer exists. Jiraiya seemed grief-stricken, though he covered it well. And what about this Pain fellow? Who is he? And what is he to you? What matter is that to you? Conan asked. Well, I suppose I deserve to know. I can only assume he's the leader of your group now. He defeated Hanzo of the Salamander. Coming from a man who fought him, that is no easy feat. Hanzo is very strong, and beating him to take his place. That's something I think all the villages need to know more about. We owe no village anything. Our leader is what we own business, and our business alone. If he wishes to remain anonymous to the public eye, that is his decision. Conan stood. I came to bring you this message. The one you see is dead. Your spying is not appreciated here. Lord Pain and Ame as a whole seek no quarrel with Konoha, but for the sake of your village and your own safety, leave Ame immediately. If you remain and continue to snoop like this, you will consider it an act of war, and Ame will readily rise to the occasion to fight. The only thing you need to know about Ame is that its forces are stronger now than they've ever been. Now, and because I respect you and don't wish to see you harmed, I issued this first and final warning. Leave the village or face consequences. Conan left the little shack. Jiraiya sat there silently for a moment, just thinking. A pair of Rinnegan eyes looked in at him from a crack in the wood of the now dilapidated building. Jiraiya sensed he was being watched and turned back to look, only to see nothing was here. I'm under surveillance, he said. I guess there's nothing more I can do here. He stood and began to leave. Returning to Konoha, he would report what he found. According to my former student, Nagato is dead, and has been replaced by this extremist named Pain. Do you know what happened to Nagato's Rinnegan? Hiruzen asked. Frankly, no. For all I know, this Pain fellow could have pilfered him. Honestly, I don't know what other thing it could be but that. I just don't see a random nobody ninja appearing out of nowhere and bringing down the salamander. But I have no proof. This Pain fellow doesn't seem interested in showing us anything. Transparency is a dream best left in slumberland, this guy. Jiraiya thought for a moment. That Kakashi kid, how did he achieve his Rinnegan? Hiruzen began to recount the story about Rein's death, the achievement of Mangekyo Sharingan, and his achievement of the Rinnegan. He can switch between all three of them, Hiruzen said. He can achieve the Rinnegan, but it wasn't his eye. Why? We do not know. All we know is that when Sasuke died, he passed his Sharingan along to Kakashi, and Kakashi awakened a Mangekyo, which already should be impossible for an implanted Sharingan like that. Yet somehow it evolved into a Rinnegan. There's no real explanation for it. It just happened. Well, if Kakashi's eye awakened, then perhaps there's a chance it was because of the Rinnegan that Kakashi could awaken the Mangekyo. That means there's a possibility that the other eye that belonged to Sasuke awakened as well. If that were possible, of course. Sasuke's entire right side was crushed by a boulder. The chances that his Sharingan survived are close to zero. But they're not zero, Jiraiya said. It's possible that it wasn't destroyed. And given that you don't know for certain, I take that to mean you never recovered the body. Hiruzen shook his head. He didn't. Jiraiya also took this into account. Then, erring on the side of caution, I say it's safe to say that there are 3 known Rinnegan in play, in locations we do not know. This could mean we have, including Kakashi, anywhere between 3 and 4 Rinnegan users running around in the world, if Konin didn't secure or destroy Nagato's eyes. What are the chances of someone awakening a new set entirely? Very low. The chances of even one set of Rinnegan awakening is so low that, theoretically speaking, it should be impossible. Make us formation would be impossible. The only person known to awaken it was the sage of 6 paths himself. The chances of the sudden awakening of not just 1, but 2 users of the Rinnegan are already so astronomically high that it should be impossible. It only becomes all the more impossible for there to be a third to awaken. But then again, never say never. If 2 have awakened it, then perhaps someone has learned how to produce them, and is currently testing it on multiple people. Such a thing, Hiruzen. The only person I think has the guts and the intelligence to do something like that is Orochimaru. He has been studying Kenkai Genkai, hasn't he? Hiruzen nodded. We should check him out and see if he's got any answers for us. Well, needless to say, things did not turn out as well as they had planned. You see, Orochimaru had been studying Genkai, but they hadn't come to know yet how obsessed he was with it. And upon entering his laboratory, they found many disturbing things and launched a full investigation. This investigation revealed the location of many secret laboratories, many of which still containing the bodies of many missing persons who had been reported to the police for assassinating. Together, Jiraiya and Hiruzen worked to bring Orochimaru in. They managed to arrest and interrogate him. They asked if he had discovered how to awaken a Rinnegan, and Orochimaru said that he had wished he knew how to awaken a Genkai as powerful as that, but so far he had had no luck even replicating the Sharingan, let alone something so far beyond it. Orochimaru was left in a cell as the others continued to search his labs. They found many things, some considered great scientific discoveries, most of which would have seen Orochimaru awarded and heralded as the greatest scientist that ever lived. If only he weren't found one of crazy.
Hey.
No new deeds were found on the user of the Rinnegan. Due to this kind of evidence pointing to any one person, the entire village began to believe that it was Kakashi who had done it, but there was no proof. The village leadership believed him innocent. Well, likely innocent. It's not like it was impossible to trigger a mind probe by the Yamanaka clan, but those in the village who, despite having no proof, assumed Kakashi was guilty. After all, he was the perfect fit. Circumstantial evidence pointed to him, as not only did he possess the Rinnegan, which was a rare dojutsu, and the one that had cast the Nine Tails under control, but also he was connected to Minato Namikaze, the Hokage, whose wife, Kushina, was the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails. They even mentioned how they witnessed Kakashi following Kushina around during her pregnancy, as as if he was suspiciously scoping her out. Kakashi, of course, wasn't. It was an official mission from the court, and there was paperwork to prove it, but public opinion hadn't been swayed. By this time, the clan name Hatake had been dragged through the mud. Sakamone betrayed the village to save his own team, and cost innumerable lives through his selfish decision. Who could expect his son to be any different? To say that this made Kakashi's life a living nightmare was an understatement. Hiruzen saw this and knew how Kakashi must be feeling to lose his master, to lose the only one to lose his best friend Sasuke, as well as his other friend Rin, to lose his father to Harakiri, and then also lose his own honor to villagers who claimed him to be as bad, if not worse than his father. Hiruzen's heart bled for Kakashi. He did his best to shield him from such speculation, but there wasn't more he could do besides that. All he could really do was sit and watch. As the years went along, Naruto continued to grow, becoming stronger and taller every day. But much like Kakashi, Naruto was hated as him. Due to him being the next Jinchuriki of the Ninth
I won't
Hill,
lose to
public
you.
opinion against him was very toxic. And though Hiruzen had charged them never to tell Naruto he actually was, it became obvious that the people were still venomous towards him, and likely still talking about his children. That this is not Naruto. That house was the house of Cleansing. Who was a close personal friend of Minato's. He came from, and though names is anyone else knew was the plainest of people. At the academy, King seemed unsafe that Naruto never realized he had. Furthermore, he taught him to volunteer better as long as recommendation that he among the honors but only kept one year. And this Kugaru explained that he had been suddenly with the contentness and Obito. Naruto was very sad, but a very good kid, and that he should try to be friends with him. Obito, having a hard larger than many else, and gladly taking it from himself. Like each other, they spaced by opposite attractions and considered Naruto. Suddenly mirror images of each other's personality models this deep thing time quite often, especially over their shared freedom of being Hokage. There could only be one Hokage.
I'll handle this.
Passion, distance, and many partisans, and even physical altercations between them. The same friend and his same friend. Some talking about Naruto, he took one the first one to throw his fist in the face of his son. Same happened here too. They were fighting. They were dating. They caused us to develop evidence in the way they use their sexy use and in the use of mostly organic, so there's enough less disturbing.
I'll do it. I won't let you run. You're not getting away. She can call me Daddy. Not yet.
Psycho Kukden!
one to me.
The second reason was that, like Obito, Kakashi possessed a Sharingan. His usage of the Sharingan should allow him to help Obito understand Obito better, should it awake. However, Kakashi didn't think this would be a good idea, as he had already been accused of being the one to set the Nine Tails loose. So how would it be considered acceptable to the village for the man who they believed to be responsible for setting the Nine Tails loose to be placed on the same team as the Nine Tails was now? Hiruzen told him that it was because he knew Kakashi was innocent, and that it was his decision to make, not the village's. All things considered, if Naruto ever did lose control of his tailed beast, Kakashi should have the abilities required to help him regain control. Kakashi eventually relented and joined the team. Hiruzen knew that it would be rough just starting out, but he knew that the team's synergy would go through the roof the moment that they got used to each other. After all, they all had the potential to form a deep bond with each other, and that was perhaps the most important part of a team. All they had to do was wait for it to happen. And that's where I think I'll stop for today. There's most definitely going to be more to the story, but you're just going to have to wait. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to receive notifications for our latest videos on release. And for those, check out the other videos on your screen now. I bet you'll enjoy them. Until next time, peace out.
Yes, leave it to me. Very well.
To range.
What can I say that hasn't been said 1,000 times about Obito? 1,000 times by myself, 1,000 times by others. Obito is the greatest victim and the greatest perpetrator in all of Naruto. The philosophy of pain. The things Nagato said about the Shinobi world were all right. He was a villain. He was right. Obito suffered much pain, and in return, through his secret he perpetuated more pain, more hatred. The curse of hatred is not something that only affects the Uchiha. It's simply visible because they're the stand-in for the whole world. Who has once a family member to murder and thought, I want to destroy whoever did that to my loved ones. That's the point of the Uchiha. We're the Uchiha. We can choose to work within the corrupted system of cause and effect, or we can go beyond it. The hardest thing someone who is hurt can possibly do is say, I forgive you. Because in saying that, you're telling someone that you will force them to pay you back for the pain they caused you. Forgiveness is the hardest, most painful, and it's the only path that can lead to healing. Forgiveness. Doing unto others as you would have them do to you. Does it sound familiar? These ideals are the ideals that promise to change the world, and have changed the world. And as the world slips ever deeper into hatred, distrust, and toxicity, we find ourselves living in the same world pain spoke about. And now it's up to us to decide if we will continue to perpetuate the cycle, or if we will shatter it to pieces. What does this have to do with the current story? I am talking about this when the Obito in this story is still in the state. Perhaps it's just because Obito always makes me think of things. That won't change it. It's whatever I do. And if we all do our small part, it ends up the world is dark and we're called to be a light. So shine brightly. Love unconditionally. If the world had more of that in it, it might be a better place than it is now. Hey, maybe that could be the theme. Love and forgiveness, as well as the bonds that keep people together. Kinda sounds like me. But I guess that's okay.
Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Anthony.
Yeah.